Yeah, hi, Namaskar. So, am I audible?
Yeah,
No?
yeah, no, yeah.
Okay. You seem to be the only audience. So, anyways, I couldn't have that much of time to go through this World Economic Forum report. So, anyways, back to basics.
Yes,
So,
yes, yes, yes. That's perfect.
I tried to recollect what, you
Yes,
know,
yes,
I used to
yes.
rather gather as when I was, interacting with my students or back to the days when I was having the classes of
True,
my,
true, 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 true.
MBA kids.
Yes.
So,
So hello and welcome to the day three of the World Education Forum 2025. And we are meeting under a very special circumstances when a lot of global transitions and transformations are happening with the advent of the 47th Prime President of the United States of America. And today only there was a news that Stargate $500 billion investment stuff has gone into creating one of the largest AI infrastructure in the United States to create the future of jobs.
hmm,
And 2025 is an era when AI has probably taken a lot of prominence. And for the last 2 days, we have been mulling over from the foundations of education as World Education Forum at Rethink India. We have curated that education to be the encumbrance
hmm,
of a resilient economic development, because today there is no dearth of the baseline technology. Even the computer science and engineering, computing as we all know about it, it has reached to a level of stability where now the platforms are getting more and more intelligent, and even the three-dimensional protein structures have been cracked, a kind of an intractable problem. And the deep mind organizations have earned the Nobel Prizes this year, 2024. So it's a major paradigm shift which is happening. And we are hosting this World Education Forum on the same dates as the World Economic Forum, which is being hosted in Davos, Switzerland.
hmm,
That was a forum which continued for has been going on for the last 5 decades or so, and shaping up the global narrative. And today, our first speaker on this day, where we are having a focus on the frontiers of education going forward. We had a lot of deliberation about human centric education yesterday, uh, the human connect, the emotional connect of it all. And then we moved on to the coaching perspectives of it all, which is purpose driven education. And then we had the AI centric, AI proctored and AI prompted learning. So that was the fulcrum yesterday. Today's focus, and we have with us Dr. Rahul Chaturvedi, who is the head of the uh, he's the officer in charge and the career at the career development services at the Indian Institute of Management, Nagpur. So भारत के मध्य स्थान से Dr. Chaturvedi has joined in. He would be illumining us from his vast, elaborate experience as a career development manager across higher education institutions, especially in the domain of management, as to how to impart the enhanced and enriched employability, especially in the light of Jobs for Future report by WA, which was recently released in the backdrop of the World Economic Forum 2025. And he would also be telling about as to how a campus ecosystem can be fine-tuned for the students who are aspiring for entrance examinations leading to the job opportunities, perhaps in the government services or others, which primarily test the theoretical foundations of that particular level. And on the screen, as you can see, and I would be inviting Rahulji to expound on it further from his vast experience as to how this transition happening and how the premier and ace institutions, his experience coming from the higher education space, from the privately held universities, and now heading a CFTI, centrally funded technical institution, and IIM. Pass it on to Dr. Rahul Chaturvedi to take on today's address. Dr. Chaturvedi, please.
Thank you and good evening to you all. Thanks for inviting me to be a part of this thought-provoking session. Although I had a few commitments, but I thought it's better to be a part of this session to enrich my knowledge with your experiences and also share my experience with you all. So, anyways, it's good to it's a very good and very relevant topic to speak on because this is something which I've been involved for my career. So, the topic that was given to me to express my views on was imparting enhanced and enriched employability that was in the context of World Economic Forum report, right? So, looking from the perspective of imparting enhanced and enriched employability, there are three dimensions we need to look at. One is emerging job clusters, skills obsolescence. Finding the new or emerging skills is something, and skills obsolescence is something different because accordingly, then we need to upskill ourselves and we need to be in, right up to the expectations of the industry from the student's perspective. I suggest the next is the top skills for 2025 or in the coming years. So, starting with my I think it's, this screen sharing is disabled. So you need to,
Yeah, we'll just
yeah.
share, sir. Perfectly all right. You can now, yeah.
So this is how we envision this a futuristic workplace for a professional in a dynamic environment, and we can see uh, this AI doing its job, and so imparting enhanced and enriched employability, the preparing for the jobs of the future. So how we can prepare for the jobs for the future? So what I went through with the World Economic Forum's report, the World Economic Forum's Jobs for Future report highlights the need for enhanced employability skills in a rapidly changing job market. In a nutshell, what we say. So, and coming to the key findings of the World Economic Forum report, as you just shared in your screen, so I also went through this. These are a few sectors, fastest growing jobs or the top fastest declining jobs. So it's very evident from this screen that, and also we can relate this with the changing landscape of this job. So big data and fintech engineers, AI, machine learning specialists, so these all the jobs are rapidly increasing, and that too at the cost of the other jobs which were prevalent earlier, as postal services, bank tellers, data entry clerks. So most of these functions have been automated now, and the technology has taken its dominance over the human or the manual work. So again, elaborating this World Economic Forum report, the key findings: emerging job clusters are data analytics, digital marketing specialists, and environment sustainability specialist. So these are the three main emerging jobs which we can see in the coming years, and One important thing is that 50% of the global workforce will need to be reskilled by 2030. So in the next 5 years, we need to reskill ourselves. We need to upgrade ourselves. We need to learn new things, new technology, and that too on a very very rapid speed. That's a very very fast speed, just to be you know keep pace with the changing dynamics of this job market. So this top skills for 2025 are going to be critical thinking, creativity, and emotional intelligence. So what we call it as human skills. In the coming slide, we'll try to elaborate a bit on this as well. So, what does this future of work look like? The future of work requires rethinking work, workforce, and workplace. In fact, these are the three dimensions: work, workforce, and workplace. So, talking about these three dimensions, work is something which answers what work can be automated. So it's very unlikely that technology work increasingly will be performed by humans, machines, or human machine collaborations. So I think so it's up to the leaders to determine how to deploy people, bots, algorithms separately and in partnerships. Technology teams focus should turn from IT capabilities to work outcomes. So with technology such as robotics, artificial intelligence, and cloud, how this traditional technology work automated, enhanced, and transformed, this is something which needs to be pondered over. And co-creating value with business functions and focusing on customer outcomes rather than processes are a part of a more fundamentally human and meaningful work experience. So as teams shifts their emphasis to combine business technology, strategies and objectives and are enabled by automation to trade manual and repetitive tasks for those requiring higher order skills, it's likely that they'll find more meaning in their work. So next we come at the workforce. It's very important to determine who can do the work with new talent, performance, and required skills. Who can do the work? How do we leverage the continuum of talent from full-time workforce to managed services, freelancers, gig workers, crowds, machines? So jobs and roles and skills and organization structure will evolve definitely. Employment models, which we can see are already changing. Businesses can access talent via a range of on and off balance sheet solutions. So we have to come out of the box solutions. And finally, instead of being specialists, specialized technologists, technology workers can become collaborative co-creators of business value. This is very, very important. And the third dimension is the workplace. So we'll discuss this is in a bit detail as well. This workplace. So where is the work done? Because especially post-COVID, it has become very very important. So with workplace for co-creation, collaboration tools, and cultures of high performance, how are workplaces and work practices reshaping where and when work is done? So technology workplaces are evolving from location centric to relationship oriented, I would say. So the geographical location of the work will vary accordingly as per the requirements of the industry, as per the requirement of the business, I would say. And workspace should be redesigned to maximize collaboration, productivity, and co-creation. So co-creation and the coexistence of technology with business is very, very important. So when extended to a network of geographical locations, including virtual offices, co-working spaces, and traditional office spaces, seamless integrated technologies such as collaboration and digital reality tools can help facilitate and support connections among humans and machines, again, a collaborative approach. So this is how the future of work requires rethinking and redefining the workforce and workplace. So talking about this again, this workspace, the workplace is very very important and a dimension again. So from location centric to relationship oriented, it has to become at any cost. So the evolution of work and workforce should be supported by targeted location strategies as well as flexible physical and virtual workspaces, fixed uncompromising workplaces may need to evolve to virtual workplaces that leverage advanced mobility and connectivity. And this has to be done to ensure the maximum or the optimal output as desired. So it's very, very important. And collaboration tools and emerging technologies such as virtual and augmented reality that help improve collaborations and integrate workers from all segments of the open talent continuum is very, very important. So when it comes to the workplace of the future, I would say the physical proximity is going to be less and less, and this will be replaced by uh, the proximity. I mean, this physical distance will no longer matter that much, but then this orientation of this relationship with our customer, with our any stakeholder is going to be very, very important. So so we need to think in that direction. So when it comes to workplace of the future, this physical proximity, I would say, is going to be very less. And maybe this even I would go to the extent of sharing that this maybe this could be one thing that the people won't even consider.
Mhm.
So and talking about the tools, there are so many collaborative collaboration tools out there to help teams get work done remotely. As we can see, the challenge is identifying the right tools and making sure our employees know how to use them to maximum efficiency. So co-creating workspaces for co-creation, collaborating among business and technology functions. Collaboration could be virtual or in person. Customer participation in the co-creation process. It's very, very important. So the mandate to create technology solutions likely would require collaboration among business and technology functions. Collaboration could be virtual or in person depending upon the requirement. Collaboration Collaboration leaders can strive to create physical and virtual workspaces that encourage teamwork and connections, but acknowledge the need for deep individual work. So while I would say a healthy portion of the workforce already has flexible work arrangements, leaders may need to carefully balance the strategies for leveraging flexible, remote, and virtual workers and providing physical proximity and co-location to spark innovation, diversity of thought, and unplanned connections. Collaboration tools and practices. We know well. We know just video conferencing, online collaboration platforms, and other tools have become the norm now. Employees' communication and collaboration needs, and then plan and execute cautiously. So we have to take care of all this. Creating a culture of performance, purpose, and meaning. So it's not just not just the output in terms of the business output or something which can be quantified, but the cultural attributes such as collaboration, empathy, creativity, and agility likely will be significantly more important than they are today. And also at the same time, we have to ensure that the current culture incentives, behaviors, and leadership align with the new model. So as I said, this, we need to ensure the rewards are based on the teamwork, the attainment of the shared goals, and the customer intimacy rather than the operational excellence.
Mhm.
So,
Mhm.
as I said, that this workplace has to become relationship oriented from this location centric, because the evolution of the work and workforce should be supported by targeted location strategies as well as flexible physical and virtual workplaces. So anyways, however, that doesn't always mean face-to-face connections or the offices that host them are unneeded.
Mhm.
Yes, of course, we'll be needing them, although they may they may be designed differently. In fact, technology and business teams may require closer physical proximity than in the past. So, workers working in the office is about building relationship and trust between team members. So, when team members feel connected and trust each other, productivity increases. The good collaboration tools will help sustain this productive collaboration for longer period of time when people cannot be regulated. But teams will still need to physically come together periodically. So there has to be a balance in this physical as well as this virtual proximity. It's
Mm.
going to be very very important. So this is one study carried out by Deloitte uh, of the chief of the CIOs are on the hunt for talent with essential and enduring human skills. So, chief information officers, when surveyed, so what are the most important IT talent soft skills that they plan to hire from their team currently and in the next 3 years? So, rising tech skills, they creativity like this creativity, cognitive flexibility, and emotional intelligence are something which are going to be very much in demand in the next 3 years to come. And in fact, this the traditional tech skills like this service orientation, system thinking, and negotiation, they will of course be there in place, but this shift has going to be to the rising tech skills, and these soft skills has to be in close coordination and collaboration with their IT or the hard skills, I would say. So we need to think about this creativity, cognitive flexibility, emotional intelligence, known as the human skills, are going to play a very, very important role in the next 3 years to come. And for an example, the 61% is of this workforce that needs to be well versed with this creativity as the top skill. Earlier it was 39%. So this is how this whole this job market is going to change. So next, the fourth industrial revolution is transforming the job market. So new technologies, shifting workforce demographics, and evolving science, societal values are creating new opportunities and challenges. Now coming to imparting enhanced and enriched employability. So talking about imparting enhanced and enriched employability, this upskilling and reskilling again, and after this this has to be with the objective of the lifelong learning and not the short term with the short term objective or the short term purpose. The soft skill development, the experiential learning, we can see that the focus of this government, the present government, is also on this and this internship as well as the apprenticeship for the skilled and the semi-skilled youth of the country. And most importantly, the industry academia partnership. So being from this education domain of education sector, so this is something a very very important thing. And because by this academy industry academia partnership, we can always find ways to find out of what's happening there in the industry, and accordingly then we can ask our students and we can make our students aligned with the roles which are required by the industry. So coming to the conclusion, then imparting enhanced and enriched employability skills is crucial for success in the jobs of the future. By adopting a holistic approach to education and training, we can equip individuals with the skills required to thrive in a rapidly changing world. So coming quickly to call to action. So let's work together to prepare the workforce of the future, invest in education and training programs that focus on emerging skills and technologies. So at the end, I was asked to suggest some institutional support for this, for the especially from the context of the culture, from the culture of private university ecosystems, in terms of this the students preparing for entrance examination for government jobs in higher education ecosystems. So I would say, as far as the support is concerned, so support is one. It has to be the pre-examination support. This can be examination support, and then post-examination support, and government job support. Digitally, we can support them. Financially, we can support them. Additionally, we can support them in terms of the mental health support, academic support, industry connections, alumni mentorship. So talking about pre-examination support, so for an example, at IIM, we have this dedicated career services for our students. We call it the career uh, development services. Here, we just not provide the internship and the placement support to our students, but at the same time, we also counsel them. We also make them understand their skill sets, skill set. We make them connect with the industry leaders to understand what's going on there in the industry and what they need to do, how they can train themselves and be industry ready. So apart from this dedicated career support, what else we can do is we can conduct regular mock tests to assess knowledge and identify areas for improvement for all these students.
Mhm.
We can provide them study materials and resources. We can provide access to relevant study materials, online resources, and libraries. We can provide them coaching and mentoring, offer coaching and mentoring sessions with experienced faculty members and industry experts. And for examination support, we can do a couple of things like we can provide them exam fee reimbursement.
Mhm.
We can reimburse exam fees for students from economically weaker sections or those with exceptional academic merit. In fact, this is something we are doing here at IIM Nagpur. So
Mhm.
we have our own this is scholarship system in place wherein we provide the 100% scholarship and the fee reimbursement for the meritorious students. And other than this, we can provide travel and accommodation assistance for students appearing for exams in other cities. Uh, Exam day support, other logistic support such as transportation and refreshment on exam days. This
Mhm.
can also be provided. So post examination, the support, I would say, we can provide counseling and guidance. We can provide counseling and guidance to help students interpret results after their results are announced, and we can help them to explore options and make informed decisions of about their career, and we can make them prepare for interview for the coming interview, conduct interview preparation sessions including mock interviews and feedback. So this is something which is really going to help the students a lot. Apart from this, we can provide them job placement assistance, offer job placement assistance including resume building, job search strategies, and networking opportunities. Uh, One very important thing, this alumni network support. So
Mhm.
we can leverage the institutional alumni network to provide mentorship, guidance, and job opportunities. In
Mhm.
fact, what I would share that even in IIM, preferably what we do, we call our alums to the campus and make them interact with our students, because being alum from the institution is something which, yeah, the student always feels excited and always eager to come to uh, their campus, coming back to the campus and interact with the students. So this is something which everyone should do, every institution should do. And for the government job support, we can provide support in terms of the coaching for the government, the government jobs like the civil services coaching. We can offer coaching, mentoring for civil services exams such as PSC or the other state services exams. And we can help them getting the government job alerts, provide regular alerts and updates on the government job openings, eligibility criteria, and application deadlines. Because sometimes what happens, the students are not that aware of the current trends in the government sector and the upcoming and the ongoing openings in various sectors in the government. Syllabus support is also another thing which we can always provide to the students. We can offer study material and resources specifically tailored for government exams. In fact, one of my the last institution that I was working with, where there we had this center of uh, uh, preparation for government jobs. So it is where we used to do all these things. there was a lady who was taking care of all this, and the students who were not keen to get placement assistance from the institution, and they uh, wanted to get into this government job market. So that center and that department used to help the students to get the required assistance and the support.
Mhm.
Other than this, I would say digitally we can help them a lot. We can provide them a lot of study material, online resources, provide access to online resources such as ebooks, articles, and webinars to aid in preparation. And moreover, we can provide them virtual coaching, offer virtual coaching and mentoring sessions to cater to students with mobility or time constraints. So digitally, we can uh, make them prepare for these jobs. And mobile apps develop. We can also develop mobile apps providing exam-related information, study materials, and practice tests.
Mhm.
And social media support, so which is very much in trend. We can utilize social media platforms to provide exam updates, tips, and motivation. A lot many social, lot many sites, a lot many a lot many people or the organizations are doing this. We can see so many websites on the social media doing this, and I don't want to name those mediums, but we all are aware of them.
Mhm.
And apart from this, the most important thing is the financial support in terms of the scholarships. And we can offer scholarships or financial assistance to students appearing for entrance exams, the government exams. And other than these scholarships, we can provide them exam fee subsidy, provide subsidies for exam fees to students from economically weaker sections. And being a public institution, so we uh, uh, need to follow these things. But apart from this, we also have the scholarship, as I discussed earlier, which are the tailor made for the students who are from weaker sections and who are deserving uh, merit wise.
Mhm.
And apart from this, we can provide travel grants, offer travel grants to students appearing for exams in other cities. Because we also do a lot of sponsorship to the students studying here at our IIM Nagpur campus
Mhm.
for to participate in the events like the other institutions events, other payment based schools events like other first generation IIMs. So we sponsor rather their trips and everything just to ensure that they participate there and excel in whatever the activity they participate in. So apart from this, the loan assistance is also another thing that we can provide to the students. So provide loan assistance or recommendations to students requiring financial support. Uh, Not here with the IIM, but in the other institutions that I was working earlier, we had the tie-ups with a few PSU banks and some private banks as well. Even some of the banks we were in collaboration with, we used to allow them to come to the campus, and during admission time, uh, one of some of their members used to sit in the campus, and they used to interact with the students who were on the lookout for the financial support or the loan assistance from the banks.
Mhm.
Additionally, I would say apart from all these supports, I would say nowadays it's a mental health support, which is very important. We can offer counseling services to offer students manage exam related stress and anxiety. It is also very important, and it has become actually very important. And I would say in our country it's not that uh, I would say it's underplayed, it's not that important. Because recently in the news we could see again some, apart from this students fraternity, this stress is something which is taking its toll on employees who are working just because of the corporate culture or due to some other stress, so that they are taking their lives, which is very you know uh, stressful, I would say. uh, Additionally, I would say the academic support is another thing that we can provide additional academic support, such as uh, we can provide them the tuition or mentoring to help students prepare for the exams. industry connections. We can leverage industry connection to provide students with networking opportunities, internships, and job placements. And on top of it, this alumni mentorship is, as I mentioned, it's very, very important. We can pair students with alumni mentors who can provide guidance, support, and industry insights. This is how we can, make the students prepare for the jobs, or to and help them to go in the industry they have chosen as their career path, and go in the right direction. So
I
this
think,
is
Dr. Pratik,
yeah, this is
presented a
what I
very
wanted to share.
comprehensive, yeah, very comprehensive view and a very intertwined mix of interventions and both the future of work, as you have, sir, very beautifully trifurcated the work, workspace, and the workforce. And I have a supplementary query ask over there. You mentioned a very critical component that it will depend on a lot of leadership choices. So,
Hmm,
coming from the I am Nagpur space, you have really taken a managerial view of things, that there has to be a proactive actor somewhere
that's
to
right.
make the design choices. So,
Right.
what do you think from the IM perspective, like future of workspace will happen when the future of education? So, how some of these components are being re-engineered in the educational space, the 2 years or the 6 trimesters which the students are really going. So, how it is being backward integrated into the educational space, uh, 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 so that they are really ready for the future of work, for that matter.
See,
Some
I would say,
observations,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. You rightly said it's very much dependent on the leadership. What is their perspective and how do they uh, see the things? Uh, I would like to share here one thing. Our director, Professor Maitri, always says one thing. Being the first generation institution, like I am, we call it, Blackie, ABCL, and the other first generation IAMs. What my director used to say, so with all the industry leaders or the people that he's interacting with, that these are the brands and they don't have to do anything to build their brand,
Mm-hmm.
right? So this is the legacy that is being carried, and they are just enjoying on what has been given to them. But being a second or the third generation, I am what we the challenge is very big for us. So we just don't need to keep in mind that we need to sustain the reputation and the brand value of the institution, but at the same time we also have to evolve.
Mm-hmm.
So see, copying or emulating something, emulating a model is something different, but doing something with innovative mind, and doing something which coming sometimes with the out of the box solution is, uh, this can be done by someone who has been given a task or the responsibility to create a brand. So creating a brand, or that to see, everybody says, be it the students from other institutions, or I have my ex colleagues from other institutions that I was working with earlier. They say, okay, now you are with an IM, so IM has to be very, very different. But this something which I need to make them understand, which I always think in my mind, that being an IM in itself a great challenge in terms of that we need to compete with the name or the legacy that has been given to us. So maintaining a brand and building a brand are two different things. So still, see, so what we have to look for is key. We have to keep pace with the changing dynamics of this education landscape in the higher education. That too, I mean the institutions that 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 we call it the legacy institutions or the premier institution. I don't want to use these words like the premier or the the tier B or tier C, but the name or the brand is something which we should always keep in mind, and it is very much dependent on the leadership of that particular institution, how uh, do they envision the institution, and how do they see the institution in the next coming 5 years or somewhere down the line. So it's very, very important.
Mhm.
So for an example, my director is from from civil background. So whosoever comes to my campus, there is always they always say one thing: you have a beautiful infrastructure.
Mhm.
So we take pride in sharing that we have the best infrastructure as compared to the other 20, all 20 21 IMs.
Mhm.
And but why this could happen? So because it could be possible only because our director was from the civil background, and he could visualize the things, how he is going to create this infrastructure, and how he is going to build this institution, or slowly and gradually this buildings will remain the same, but then the other things like the students, or the quality of the education, or its the reputation is something which is going to uh,
Lovely, lovely,
be
lovely,
realized in the later stage.
lovely, lovely. I
So the
have
leadership is something which plays a very important role.
very phenomenal, phenomenal. One more curiosity, like you entailed a lot about the support which can be given to the students who are aspiring for government jobs per se. Now, we see in the civil services, for that matter, a huge chunk comes from the UG engineering background. But then
Hmm.
they say that the civil services or the administrative services, they need managers for that matter. So, are the IMs or perhaps the B schools for that matter, apart from the preparing the corporate space managers, do you have an institutional push in some way or the other to inspire these PG students to opt for government managerial positions? Or because the corporate space is working parallelly, but then until or unless the government spaces really get such futuristic managers which are trained in the most advanced managerial dimensions. What is your view, or perhaps what is being experimented upon, or what should be actually done? Because somewhere or the other, they say that we really need specialists to run the public services for that matter.
Hmm.
Maybe a mix of opinion out there which will really redefine the future of work in the governmental space, because that's
Hmm.
where a majority in a developing country like ours, yes, an examination just takes a lot of diverse backgrounds, but then they have to manage the public affairs. So what is I am Nagpur specially, or generally the B schools can really contribute towards that?
Specifically for the government jobs, there is nothing special that we make the efforts, I would say. But yes, when it comes to the executive education, so
Mhm.
we also offer the executive program apart from this our flagship MBA program. For
Mhm.
the executive program, we have so many PSUs
Okay, okay.
in collaboration, and so we have offered so many short term or the tailor made programs for their executives. So when these executives come to the campus, so we always make it a point to interact with them, and uh, make them interact with our students as well. And so sometimes, and very often, what happens is they share their ideas and their experience, because being a public institution, that too, this I am from the I am league. Our students normally are not very keen to join the this government jobs, I would say. It's a very, very, very
Mhm.
candid opinion that I would like to share with you. But yes, nowadays these some public institutions, they have also started offering some very, very competitive packages to
Mhm.
the students. So in that case, so whenever the opportunity comes, so you know uh, without differentiating whether it is a public sector undertaking or it's a private sector job, we encourage them to apply, and accordingly we counsel them, we try to
Mhm.
make them understand what is this job
Lovely.
about. And when needed, if needed, then we make them interact with the concerned or the right person who can
Mhm.
guide them, uh, like in the PPT sessions, so they can make them understand about the jobs or the roles they will be involved with. Okay, this is the choice of the students. In fact, we just help them to make informed decision. So normally, I would say they are not very keen to join the PSUs, the public sector or the government jobs. But yes, whenever the opportunity comes or whenever there is a very good an opportunity, so we always make it a point to make them understand about the
Lovely,
requirement.
lovely. I have just just one more layer of it all. Like MAGA, Make America Great Again, has got reverberation, global reverberation for Tata, and perhaps by the law of complementarity, because a lot of decisions out there would have some repercussions on the aspirations or perhaps the easy to go movement out of the country for a large amount of Indian students per se. So,
Hmm.
somewhere or the other, our higher education institutions, because at the very head start, we also said that even in the presidential debates of America, it was talked about that it is the charged up human talent which is going to shape up the future of economy, because the baseline technology is accessible across the baseline infra, as IIM Nagpur has phenomenal physical infra for that matter, but it is the human layer.
Hmm.
So
Right.
management, as we say in the public space, that management, administration, and governance.
Hmm.
There is a lot of shine and sheen in the civil services for that matter, that our eminent ones have gone to perhaps a Harvard school, Harvard Kennedy School of Governance for that matter. So, how are B schools or management schools, we specifically say, are really gearing up their governance and administration index, apart from the PSU managers for that matter, but how to bring about the research part of it all, so that executive education for the top notch officers in the government, who are the really policy planners, policy makers in our
Hmm.
hierarchical system. So, how IIMs are actually contributing or can contribute towards making India great again, because instead of losing a large chunk of our talented,
Hmm.
spirited
Right.
ones, global corporations, and also our public managers, public administrators, how we can empower them through executive education.
So, sir, let me share it with you that as of now, at present, we have two retired IAS or the civil servant, very serious civil servants who are, faculty here at IIM Nagpur,
Okay,
and
okay,
they teach the subjects like government policy and the other subjects, managerial subjects. And again, as I shared with you earlier, the thrust or the emphasis of the management has always been to, give a chance to the faculty who are very experienced and um, even if going in a bit more detail, I would say that we are an institution wherein approximately 80% of the faculty are they are on the level of associate or the professor level.
mhm,
Just 20% of them are of this assistant professor level, and nobody is on the on this, I would say, the lecturer or the the starting level. So idea here is to bring the experienced faculty so that they can contribute in the research area, and they can contribute in the management consultancy and other entrepreneurship areas, are the our incubation center, and also at the same time uh, enrich the students with their experience and the the insight.
mhm,
So again, being an autonomous institution, it all depends on the leadership, how they are, thinking, how they are envisaging, how they vision in what kind of the vision they have in mind, how they see themselves in the coming years.
mhm,
And
mhm,
compare, if you ask me to make a comparison, so most of the third generation or second generation IIMs, so uh, they don't mind hiring someone in their faculty
mhm,
who are just passed out or who have just done their research from other premier IIMs or IITs.
mhm,
But in our case, our leadership has always been keen to hire talent or the faculties who are experienced and who you know uh, can add value to the system in some way or other, be
mhm,
it teaching the students or designing the curriculum, or working as a moderator to you know
mhm,
design the everything like their syllabus and all.
mhm, mhm. I think it has been a phenomenal conversation with Dr. Chaturvedi, where he entailed the entire span of future of work, and one very important facet which he has brought about, the active element. The systems might be there, the knowledge might be there, but the operating word of leadership, he has put it as a pivot over there, because that's where the varied choices, and that distinguishes a kind of a system or AI for that matter, howsoever intelligent it might be. But what would be the decision making levers? Perhaps we might be having a different session with Dr. Chaturvedi about what defines those leadership choices. It is
Remember, the human skills, as I shared with you earlier, the human skill is something which is always going to be relevant and which is always going to be, going to play a very important role.
Mhm.
Uh, how so advanced we become in technology, or we can bring any technology and we can, be. I mean, it's the human skill which is actually going to drive the whole thing, and this human skill is going to play a very very important role in shaping our economy, and making us to prosper and be in the league of what we say the developed nation, as Modi ji says in the he is given a time frame that by this time we'll be in the league of the developed nations.
from the
So
prime
we hope so.
ministerial, the topmost political leadership to the institutional leadership. And
Mm.
what Dr. Chaturvedi has mentioned is the human skills. But then at the end of the day, human skills are somewhere defined intrinsically. It is the individual choices. And I would now like to pass on this baton of this conversation from IIM Nagpur, Dr. Chaturvedi, to Dr. Arvind Agrawal, who is the founder of Advait, which is unparalleled Advitiya Solutions. It's a kind of a knowledge powerhouse which is anchored into the Indian knowledge traditions. And Dr. Agrawal has done some of the very fundamental researches as to where these choices, where these inspirations, where these motivations actually come from. Because a charged neutron can really ignite an entire fissile material, creating a kind of a nuclear fission for that matter. And perhaps that's where our the next subject matter is how to have an entrepreneurship as a way of life. Because entrepreneurship is not just about the corporate or startups financial, it's a way of life, as we all know about it. I would like to invite Dr. Agrawal to add upon what Dr. Chaturvedi has really very beautifully laid the foundation of the day three conversations. How to catalyze the ethical entrepreneurship. So being ethical is something which Dr. Agrawal's whole domain of management, Indian management system way, as a way of life, and how to handhold the interdisciplinary research more from a technological STEM plus humanities. And that's where our IIMs and IITs, because we have recently saw that aims which have come up in almost every state, they are tying up very closely with the IITs. But then how the managerial wisdom, how the humanities can really add with the technological side of it all, because that's where Rahulji said very beautifully that it is the free will, it is the leadership choices, that how my institutional vision would be taken further and forward. So over to Dr. Agrawal to add upon this conversation and this Gyan Pravah. Dr. Agrawal. So you have to unmute yourself, yeah, please. So you have to unmute, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Namaskar. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to come in and start my discussion. And if I could have the screen sharing on the other system that I have logged in, then maybe
So you can share from, yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. Taking forward the esteemed talk from Dr. Chaturvedi, I hope to be to be at par in terms of adding value to the forum and to the discussion. And coincidentally, even I had been, management professor for, entrepreneurship, marketing, and like that. And it was somewhere in 2015 that I took a conscious decision to get out of the formal education system and address, very widespread problems, unstructured problems, complicated problems around which there are not too many, successful business models, so to say, but the problems exist. But those problems exist, and that is where my work was very, in one way, pure calling from within, so long as me as an individual is concerned, and very challenging if I extrapolate it to the market and the entrepreneurial journey, or reaching out to the unstructured wide market that I am talking about. So it has been a very humble beginning, and I'll be honest. When I started, I simply started teaching English to the students because then I could see that people are getting degree anyway, but they were getting stuck with the language skills. I mean, I overheard conversation of two students. They would have come back from after giving an interview for job or something, and they were definitely talking in Hindi between two of them. And I was in ICFI Business Management School in Indore branch, and those two students had come all the way from Gaya, Bihar, around 800 miles, having paid roughly 4.5-5 lakh rupees of fees, which I know, which was a big sum at that time. And one of them was saying to other one in Hindi कि काश अगर अंग्रेजी आज अच्छी होती तो ये इंटरव्यू में क्रैक कर लिया होता. Now I couldn't take it lightly. I mean, I couldn't take it as a normal conversation. I mean, it was something which threw me back around 30 years past my life, when I was zero in English once upon a time. And also I came to the point of realization that degrees are available, but employability is dependent on something else altogether, which we are not addressing in formal education system. And that is where I took a conscious decision to get out of the formal education system and address the problem head on, I mean, as they call it, on face to face. I mean, let me see what is the problem, what is the root cause, where is the origin of those root cause. I mean, it was a long journey, definitely. Last about 15 years, I've been truly, I mean, entrepreneurial learning, as I call it. I mean, what you can learn while you are active on the ground. When you start with, with zero altogether once again. You draw a line, start with zero once again. So that kind of experience. I mean, when I used to teach entrepreneurship, I was a person who was taking the sentences and paragraphs from book and translate it to the PowerPoint presentation and speak it out, because I had good speaking skills even then. So I was good at, good at taking class, making students, get excited to the concept of entrepreneurship and marketing. And perhaps being from, Bania community, the entrepreneurship was there in my blood. So I used to relate to entrepreneurship innately, So it was very exciting for me to teach, as well as for students to learn from me. But even then, after I have gone through 15 years of experience of being an entrepreneur, now if I look back, I mean, I can see that there is something which gets lost in the formal education. I mean, that is where I started my journey, and that is how this Advait Institute has been born. And I mean, if I can draw from Honorable Prime Minister Modi's example, for all practical purpose, you can take me like a chai wala, I mean, if you travel in train sometime, if there is a guy who's coming chai, and if you ask him for cookies or biscuits or lassi, he'll say mere paas nahi hai. So today I am like that chai wala who sells only Indian knowledge system curated for concurrent lifestyle and a lifestyle which offers ethical prosperity, which a lifestyle which is likely to give the quality of life that as human being we are longing for, work-life balance, and of course the work is academically also very authenticated because I mean though I speak uh, everything that I speak from a learner's point of view. I mean, I keep the learners in the center when I prepare any uh, product, any program, any book, any framework. I always ask questions from the learner's point of view, from the end user's point of view. Right? So, I have everything which at the intersection of Indian system and concurrent lifestyle can offer. And I talk, I sell only that. I sell only that. I mean, like that chai wala, I sell only frameworks and the and the solutions and and pedagogies at the intersection of Indian knowledge system and concurrent style of living for ethical prosperity, quality life, and human development. Now, human development. I mean, when I'm saying all this, perhaps what we will do is I will break down my session of almost 1 hour into 3 parts, and 20 minutes, 20 minutes, and 20 minutes intermittently. After each 20-minute break, I will try to have a brief interaction with with all of you, and so that it happens in a Q&A format more or less. And in the first part, we will talk about the uh, the three frameworks upon which the entire ethical entrepreneurship or ethical economics that we are talking about is dependent upon. So first 20 minutes we will give to three frameworks which Advait is is developing or has developed. Uh, Second part we will talk about the ethical entrepreneurship and ethical economics, which is the theme of the today. And in third part, I will talk about the interdisciplinary intersection, how it can happen in the in the possible scenario when we have all the systems, education system, society, economics anchored around the Indian knowledge system or ancient knowledge system. I mean, if we think global, if we think global, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, and if we stick to India, then perhaps there may be a nation, a culture who doesn't have acceptance for India. So let us make it ancient knowledge system, something which prevailed even before the modern, modern constructs that we are living in. The modern constructs includes what started, with industrialization around 500 years ago, and perhaps what started around 2000 years ago with the idea of what I prefer to call is MMR, man-made religions. So let me see. We will break down the discussion in three parts. Uh, Whatever I am speaking, with humblest submission to Guru and Govind, who were there on the screen. Pujaniya Shankaracharya ji, who happens to be my Guru, who repeat, and of course Shri Krishna, who has taught us the art of art of war, if I can say so, and at the same time art of self realization. So I mean I'm dedicating each word that I speak today to them. It comes from them, and it ultimately is their transpirations, which which is taking shape of books and online courses and frameworks or whatever I'm speaking. It is they who are speaking through me. I'd like to begin with this background. I mean, I always prefer to take a long shot before solving any problem, before creating any solution, as to where does the problem come from. Because if you don't know the past, if you don't know the origins, then whatever we will create will be to some degree only a temporary solution. Because we are looking at the symptoms only, and like allopathy, we are just smearing some ointment on the skin. For a couple of hours, it will give us relief. But then, if we don't go to the origin of where the problem, symptoms started altogether, then we are doing half-cooked job. And in order to have a good understanding of whatever we are going through today, whether it is the youngsters in the corporate going through the work stress, whether it is the corruption in the market, whether it is the strain in the society or community, or stress in the social layer of the neighborhood, whether it is two countries having a kind of silent disagreement but turbulent undercurrents because of trade war, because of the arms race, because of whatever we can call it. If we look at all the stress, whether it's at the individual level, whether it is at the family level, whether it is the society level, whether it is at the national level, international level, natural level, or at the level of nature, or whatever we can call it, we can trace the left side of the slide. We can trace its beginning around 500 plus minus number of years ago, right? I mean, whatever society, whatever market, whatever education system, whatever schooling system, whatever social media and technological development we are living in today, almost started taking shape when this triad came together around 500 years ago. Around 500 years ago, they almost learned how to colonize new geographical region. Few of the power circles, they learned how to colonize new place, right? They learned it systematically, and they learned also how to not only colonize, but I have said it in my article today, which I shared with Raghavji. I request Raghavji to share the link of the blog post which I shared today, the framework approach of Adit. They learned also to plunder and repeat, colonize, plunder, repeat, colonize, plunder, repeat. So basically, though they learned it 500 years ago, but its effect is felt even today. Its repercussions, far-reaching repercussions, are felt even today. They learned how to colonize and free up the country, but still, control a entire nation through what we can call what is known in informal lingo, iron cage, deep state, and so on and so forth. So colonization came together with capital, and that came together with mass production, industrialization. So when these three came together almost simultaneously around 500 years ago, they started creating formal education system to unsettle the person who was a cobbler, a carpenter, or a goldsmith, or a ironsmith, and make him a farm worker. Make him a factory worker, make him a office worker, make him a salesperson. They also learned creating organized markets, because if the mass production is happening, then you need some methodology to get it consumed quickly. So instead of unorganized markets, which used to be the order of the day before industrialization, perhaps weekly or monthly HART was the methodology of organizing the market once in a while. But otherwise, on a day-to-day basis, there was barter, and on intermittent basis, maybe weekly or fortnightly or monthly, there was gathering of buyers and sellers. But nothing like organized permanent market, organized permanent large city existed before that. And with this urbanization, with this formalization of education, with this formalization of market, and with this formalization of economic, activities, and with all this being controlled through capital, and capital controlling the resources, colonization controlling the administration, and the industrialization controlling the demand and supply. So this is where things started around 500 years ago. It was good. Okay. I mean, I don't disagree. I mean, I'm not against technology. I'm not against capital. I'm not against the cultures of different parts of the world. The globe has hundreds of cultures, and it's okay. I mean, each culture can thrive on its own. But the deteriorations definitely have started today. And if you come forward little, I put fast forward to the period of 1900s, in the second box, where, most of the countries so-called got freedom, so-called freedom. I mean, I put the freedom in the quotes because though on the papers they are free, but something is there because of which they are not free. They still have to comply with, either the remote control or through the international bodies like United Nations and WHO and things like that, which makes it very difficult for the government to work as if it is a free and sovereign, entity. Right? I mean, we have seen in the period of COVID, who play a foul role? So freedom is only so-called freedom. We are not really free in a true sense. Also, the advent of brainwashing the generations after generations by following the one-line formula which Macaulay gave in the United Kingdom House of Commons about the brown on skin, but English by bringing up. So he made sure through his education system for generations after generations that we lose connection with our own roots. We lose connection with our self-esteem, and not only lose connection with our own roots and our self-esteem, self-definition, but also on the other side, we develop appreciation for anything which is foreign and everything which is foreign. Okay? So this must be having some jargon attached to it. I cannot recall it right now, but having appreciation for something which is not you. Right? I mean, it's very default behavior of the youngsters. As youngsters, we used to like the music from Beatles and Paul Collins and Whitney Houston more than the bhajans as we do today after some maturing. So in our student life, we were product of the Macaulay's conditioning strategy. And this is not only true with India. He has, or that Macaulay methodology has been successfully adopted for all the other countries by those who colonized it earlier. And unfortunately, this psychological conditioning is not limited today to relationship between the education and students only. Somehow, even if you read the books like, there are so many books on psychology and how psychology is being used for marketing and public relations. There are books written. Hooked, for example, HOOKED. These are certain books, or lot of research which give clear indication that conditioning the potential buyer is something which, on the lines of Macaulay, even the corporate sector has learned systematically, which is very alarming. And because of that, we have the capital using the social media and technology and the platforms like Reels and YouTube and conditioning millions of people together. I mean, if you look at it as a origin of the problem, then perhaps then only we'll be able to develop sustainable solutions, or solutions which will take us through next 5 years, 500 years. I mean, with their framework, if they could come up to 500 years, we need to develop a response to it so that we have next 500 years, where we can survive. If we know about the depopulation agenda that the deep state has, you can Google up depopulation agenda or depopulation. There are books written on it. There is an interview on records. The people have said that, I mean, what are so many people doing on Earth? We don't need so many people.
Mhm.
And third is what happened during the 1980s in most of the countries, especially developing countries, is LPG, liberalization, privatization, and globalization. I mean, very good words. I mean, I also would have written essays. I would have given extempores on LPG. I would have, sat in the debates during my studenthood, taking side of LPG, and I mean, how glorified thing it is for India to, I mean, experience it. But then today I realize that it's only a name of the game, where in indirect terms, few hands who control the market are saying to the other countries that you open your market to us, for us.
Mhm.
And that is where, I mean, the liberalization, privatization, and globalization happened during the period of what you call 1980s to 2000s or so. And today we have come to a stage where it's almost like a silent war. In fact, I've written a poem, Yuddha to chal raha hai. I'll try and share towards maybe in the third part of the talk. Yuddha to chal raha hai. I mean, today the wars are not fought on the frontiers only. I mean, it's no more bullets. It's no more army, no more army and tanks. I mean, it is a war on our economy, our buying capacity. I mean, I'm sitting here in Navi Mumbai, and a company in, I mean, having head office in New York takes away money from my account without me realizing, for an automated domain renewal. Right? Now, I mean, that is one very fair example, because I need the domain. I don't mind it. Or maybe if that registrar was in India, I would have, happily. The point is that, the war is on buying capacity. I mean, today millions of youngsters are on Netflix. Where is the money going ultimately? The war is cultural. The war is cultural. They are sanitizing every cultural tests that we have. I mean, I'll give you an example. And how do they do it? Let me give an example. For example, they have coined the term patriarchy. Now, the moment the youngster is listening to this word patriarchy, and a little bit of explanations here and there, maybe what you find on the Google, the default thought process that he develops around this word is that every elder in the home is trying to dominate me. He's trying to take my freedom away. He is having a thought process which is not in sync with the lifestyle today. He is outdated, and I must disconnect from him as early as possible. Right? So, the idea is that using this word, conditioning the youngster, and breaking down the culture of family system that we have had for millennia together. Something which, for that matter, pockets in the Western culture have also realizing its value in it. But then there is I mean, there is good in East and there is bad in East. There is good in West and there is bad in West. So let me not mix up the directions, East or West. Let me use the simple word, evils. The evil forces are attacking you on culture because they want you to break down as family. And the simple logic, and if I can use the algorithm that they have, is that if it is a joint family, they will buy one TV. If it is a broken family with 8 of them living in 8 different locations, perhaps they will buy at least 4 televisions, or they'll have 4 kitchens. They will have 4 modular kitchens. If they still have desire to have kitchen in their home. Otherwise, they'll have a quick com to deliver food in their home for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So they want to break it down. They want to break us down culturally also. And of course, then I have added this word very carefully. The war today is biological also. The war today is biological also. So if I have to give an example, we have so many cases. So many research papers today talking about COVID being foul experiment. And of course, there can be more. There can be more. I think there is a new vaccine being propagated for females. Some complication. Sudha Murthy spoke about it. Bill Gates has openly, accepted in an interview that India is our laboratory for biological thing. So, point is that we are living in very strange world where all the glory that we discovered during 1700s have reached to a peak. They have reached to a peak. They have come to what I can call a point where they know that they are breaking down. They know that they are breaking down. And it is no less than a war. It is nothing less than a war. And the nature of war is different. And that is where I don't look at education as something only for human development, or of course it has to be, one of the final outcome has to be human development, no doubt about it. But then for what? अपनी आजीविका के लिए, कि नौकरी कर लेगा प्राइवेट सेक्टर में, गवर्नमेंट सेक्टर में? No, not that. Human development has to, if I go back to the slide, what is the Krishna doing to Arjuna? He's educating him. He's educating him for what? For what is dharma? What is ethical? What is right thing to do? And if it amounts to getting into war, then doing it. So my whole approach of, if you ask me, what is our philosophy? The war could be a very crude word to be used here, but we have to prepare them for the life which today has, every individual is facing. Every individual, every family is facing this. Every youth is facing these problems. Hikikomoro, for example, there is a youth disease, psychological disease, where they get absolutely introverted tough from the society because they feel they come to a kind of conclusion that education and society didn't do justice to them, hikikomori or something like that, and they become introverted. They get into a room, they close all the windows and lights, they sit in the dark for hours together. They give up devices also, strange. So there is something which is wrong at the cellular level today. And if we do not prepare the society, we are doing half-cooked job. We are doing something only to cater to our own ego. We are doing something only to cater to our own ego, to cater to our own jargonism, nationalism, and to cater to our own, the need of content creation. No, not that.
I would just like to
We
comment
have
for a moment that what Dr. Agarwal is really bridging at what Dr. Chaturvedi had left, that it is the leadership choice. So what leadership choice would come from? I think that is a constant dilemma all through civilizational discourse as to if we go to the Puranic lores, how a Duryodhana chose, he had a leadership position, but then how a Yudhishthira chose, and what Krishna interlocuted and made Arjuna choose over there. So I think that in this very context, because a lot of civilizational challenges coming to us, as Dr. Agrawal has put up the three epochs, and what is now intensifying at a way faster pace. This is really going to be very, very troublesome, and that's where ethical entrepreneurship, because entrepreneurship is all about taking responsibility and acting upon things. Because darshan, vigyan, or vyavhar, a lot of philosophizing happens, a lot of academic discourse happens, but how much of it is really translated into action? I think that's where the integral education comes into play, which says that action speaks louder than words. Thank you, Dr. Agrawal, for
Absolutely, absolutely.
this
Yes, yes,
foundation
yes.
laying is so very important from this very perspective. Please carry on, sir.
Thank you so much. In fact, you getted the need to to really think through the
Yes.
possibilities with ethical entrepreneurship and ethical norms very nicely, Dr. Raghav. And I'll take forward our discussion to that direction. And when I'll come back to these slides if required.
Yes. Yes.
I mean, I will. I'll share this particular slide with you. I mean, though it is in Hindi, but because it's in from a book, which I have written recently. It is called the Sri Siddhi 121, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sri Siddhi 121. It it appears in this particular book. So this image is from ethical entrepreneurship. Let me lay the context before I actually present this slide. There are there are at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 solutions available with us today when it comes to ethical entrepreneurship and ethical prosperity and ethical economics is concerned. Right? Let me take you through one by. First of all, I have talked about 10x10 framework. There are 10-point framework for conducting business ethically in this book called Advait Vyavasay Upanishad. And this particular version is second edition of the book. And believe me, this 10-point framework for conducting business in ethical manner emerged when I was editing for 8th round, the second edition. Right? When I was editing this book, it goes through number of rounds of editing. So when I was editing 8th round, I was trying to do some kind of classification of all the 225 charchas which is contained in this book. And that is where this framework of 10 10 point 10 point what you can call a framework for ethical entrepreneurship emerged, and that has been contained in this book called Advait Vyavasay Upanishad. That was about the business owner. Then soon, I realized the need to involve the customers also, and I wrote a very thin book. It's a 20-minute read, customers ke, where I've given even customers a 10-point framework on how to become a conscious customer, and how I mean, this book is basically it classifies, it gives a classification of 3 kinds of unethical practice in the market. Becoming unethical because of greed, becoming unethical only to survive, because otherwise too much of competition in the market. A small kirana wala today may not survive because there is so much of competition in market. So becoming unethical sometimes only to survive, and becoming unethical because of some kind of rivalry, some kind of evil thinking, some kind of jealousy, or some kind of non-tolerance, intolerance for the other, others. It could be something as simple as the fight between the two competitors, or fight between two brothers who are in the same business. So I mean, I've given a very soft, gentle example, but there are more more severe examples, which which I plan to cover in a I'm starting a news magazine altogether separately to share the cases of unethical practices in the market and educate the customers as well as the small business owners and the entrepreneurs for that. So in this book, there are 10 pointer rules for buyers. So only when the buyers and business owners have some kind of like we were talking about Jajmani relationship, the interdependence and parasparikta with each other, then only we'll be able to make a beginning somewhere. Right? So this is one, and this is about when I'm talking about ethical entrepreneurship. The Advait Vyavasay Upanishad, the book on the left side, which is which you're seeing on the left side. This book is a very comprehensive book, almost 512 pages, and Dr. Raghav has read it, and maybe he'll be able to say a few words in in his testimonial for this book. This book is based on what you can call Baniya Buddhi, or the ancient way of managing business for generations together. Today businesses are crumbling down. I presented a paper in IIM Ranchi 2014 where I had this particular theme. The business practice of traditionally the business communities like Sindhi Samaj and the Punjabis and the what is that they do which keeps their business running through the generations? Right? What is that cultural difference between family of Sindhi or Baniya compared to family of non-business owner community? Right? So I had presented a paper, and in that paper, while preparing that paper, I had found out a data point that more and more family businesses are winding up, and the next generation is not taking it forward. This is alarming. If you look at the economics point of view, if you look at the socioeconomics point of view, both economics, demand supply, and socioeconomics, the qualitative aspect of it. So if you look at the socioeconomics point of view, it's again alarming, right? It's again alarming. If we, like they say that if you want to kill the society, kill the culture. If you want to kill the economics, kill the business. And I think we have enough cases where we know that Amazon is systematically kind of swallowing in the small businesses. How do they do it? It's a matter of different. In fact, there is a huge opportunity of research in the area of ethical business, parasparik business. Huge. I can right now I can suggest 50 research opportunities. So point is that there is a lot which, if we can establish as ethical business model, it will be as precious contribution to the entire globe, as precious was perhaps Om as a contribution, or yoga as a contribution, or Ayurveda as a contribution. It can be that level of that valuable contribution the world can have through us, provided we can establish it. We can establish it on the ground and show it to the West that you can be prosperous at the same time ethical also. It is not impossible. It is not impossible. Second resource which is available for ethical prosperity is there is a video magazine of 158 episodes available on our platform, which is called Advait Money Matters. Now, the thought process behind publishing this video magazine is partly because I'm kind of a shishya of Robert Kiyosaki, who has written so many books, and he has dedicated his entire life only to two things: entrepreneurship and teaching people financial skills. I read his book, Rich Dad Poor Dad, way back in 1999 or 2000. And then I have read almost all 7 or 8 of his books. So partially the encouragement is to help people understand the dynamics of money, because otherwise the default thought processes that we are brought up in our family is that, or in the society, it has been kind of pushed to us that talking about money is a bad thing. And most of us grow up and enter financial life without having financial skill. I mean, Professor Chaturvedi, I mean, if he's here, he will agree that most youngsters who enter corporate life having package of 10 lakh, 20 lakh, 30 lakh, 1 crore, but not having financial skill. I mean, it becomes something like having an expensive car, taking it to highway, but not having driving skills. So I gave, concerted, almost 7 months to produce this video magazine, Advait Money Matters. Every day I used to produce 1 episode during the COVID period, when it was lockdown, movements were not possible. I produced this video magazine, Advait Money Matters. The second, what you can call logic, it is not exactly motivation, it was basically a logic that having good business sense and having good sense about money, they always go together. It is almost impossible to have good business skill. Somewhere or the other, the person will get stuck if he doesn't know how to handle the money. One can be financially very successful, but if he is not, having financial discipline and financial insights, then he will have trouble. I mean, you have so many pop stars who would have earned in millions, but then they died poor. I mean, we can do a Google search. Pop stars or Bollywood stars who died broke. And you will get a list of 20, 30, 40 people, depending on blog to blog. Point is that earning money is one skill and managing money is another skill. Earning money is about entrepreneurship, but if you don't know how to, manage money, then it's going to be, it's going to cause troubles. Okay? The third set of, it's a very small reading, maybe 2 or 3 hour reading, PDF format, Word printed format. It's for startup owners who have entered to the business for first generation business owners, especially startup founders. 10 common mistakes they commit, and what is the way out of it. And there are 2 little high-end resources, Advait Vaibhav Sadhana and Shri Siddhi 121. I'd like to talk about Shri Siddhi 121 a little bit, but Advait Vaibhav Sadhana is available both as independent shop on Advait platform, as well as it is a part of the Advait Vyavasay Upanishad book also. Charcha Kramank 174. It is basically a 20-minute daily routine or regime, as we can call it, to become a person who is balancing between, between his entrepreneurial calling and the spiritual processes which are supportive of, materialistic or life on this earth, as it has to be lived today. So that is Advait Vaibhav Sadhana, which is available in form of an online workshop also, with a lot of additional material. But if you would like to get the crux of it, you can just go to Advait Vyavasay Upanishad and read 174 Charcha Kramank. It has been outlined 5-step process there. Okay? So that said, I'd like to talk a little bit about Shri Siddhi 121, because I took a really very, very bold step of introducing Bhakti Marg in formal sphere of learning. Formal, I'm not saying formal in the sense where we are talking about personal growth, materialistic growth. from the lens of maybe even the, from hardcore corporate executive or academician. I mean, he will look at bhakti as a superstition. He'll look for logic. He'll look for data points. He'll look for statistical support. For him, bhakti is a out of bound thing. So that is why I'd like to talk a little bit about Sri Siddhi 121, and this is a book which is based upon uh, uh, the Artharthi Marg. Artharthi is one of the four kinds of bhakt which Sri Krishna has espoused in Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Shloka Kramank 7:16. Chapter 7, Shloka 16, perhaps, if I'm not wrong. He has talked about four kind of bhakt. Four kind of Arth, Artharthi, Jnani, and Premi. So he's talked about four kind of bhakt. Arth are the people who come to his Sharana, desperately looking for his help. कि अब तो कुछ नहीं है, मेरे को आप ही बचाओ. So that is arth, दुखी जिसको बोलते हैं, totally असहाय and looking for urgent help from Shri Krishna. Of course, Premi and Jnani are the little high-end bhakt who would like to, get dive into the knowledge, and after diving into the knowledge, they would like to realize the greatness of Shri Krishna and will try to become one with him.
In fact,
so that is Jnani and Premi.
Once more to re-emphasize, because Dr. Agrawal's tome of work is so very elaborate, like a modern Vyasa. Dr. Chaturvedi talked about the mental health issues which are confronting the modern Manav, despite having accomplished so much of material prowess all through. So perhaps this ethical entrepreneurship framework is a sure shot insurance against those mental turmoil. Because somewhere or the other, because we have to really go inwards whenever the Indian knowledge systems are actually the internal knowledge systems. Because at the end of the day, what Dr. Chaturvedi talked about, because I'm trying to, as a Sutradhar, trying to link up the conversations from the most modern motifs to the most ancient meanings and phraseologies as well. Because at the end of the day, it's a singular, it's a unified human life. We cannot just bifurcate it across into material or ethereal, because somewhere or the other it's a fulfilled life which we all have to come, and happiness which is becoming so big a question. And I think ethical framework what Dr. Agrawal has really championed, and the beauty is that it is not just in philosophy alone. As Dr. Arvind said, this Advait Vyavasai Upanishad, it looks a bit classy, it looks a bit in today's, I would say, fast moving pace. But if you will go inside, these are aphorisms worth implementing. Every single page has got a very small aphorism and how it can be applied it across. So it's not a wisdom where you will be gasping for implementation. And I would request sir, because his work is so very elaborate, that we can probably have an Advait education forum all through for days and days together, and still difficult to fathom the body of knowledge. Maybe a couple of aphorisms in the ethical framework, if sir can really extol and expound, just to have a taste of what actually lies within the ethical framework. I think that will be much more
Definitely,
for the matter.
definitely. I'll come to it, and let me complete, for the sake of completing the framework. This is one of the last thing which is available today as as a curriculum actually. It's a curriculum, diploma in ethical entrepreneurship, economics, and policy making. We have, I have this entire curriculum available on website. It's available on the website itself, and anybody who would like to be partner with us, because all this development of Advait has happened more single-handedly. And if there are institutions and there are organizations who would like to be partner with us to take all this together and convert it to a regular course where we have a batch, or we have a methodology, and we design a methodology, and jointly award certificates or diplomas to the participants, so that we can start institutionalizing things. I mean, if I was giving example of the in the first slide about the how it started 500 years ago, how it started 500 years ago, what you will notice is that there is a lot of institutionalization which has happened. When education system, the first school which would have been created 500 years ago, today there are boards, today there are governments controlling the norms. So we need to begin our journey the way they would have started 500 years ago today, so that we are able to see. And coming to your point of view, that I should discuss one or two chatas or criticisms from the book. Definitely, it will be all definitely a pleasure. There are one point of view which I'd like to give before I do. This is very, very important illustration. This is very important illustration. Though it is in Hindi, I hope the learned audience is able to read it. I, like I said in the beginning, I always create keeping the end user on my top of the mind. And if the end user is a person who doesn't have the academic bent of mind, who doesn't have patience, who wouldn't like to be bombarded with organism, who want to see things rather than today everybody is more visionary. Video. There are limitations which the potential beneficiaries have. There are potential beneficiaries, and the normal lifestyle is I've tried to bring in the earth, karma, dharma, earth, kam, and moksha. The quad which needs to be addressed. If you are creating anything naitik, if you are creating anything anchored around Indian knowledge system or ancient knowledge system, then we have to somehow ensure that we do justice to this quad. Dharma, earth, kam, and moksha. Now, if you look at this, there are two of the quad come in the bottom. Normal person is living around earth and calm, earth or calm per kendrit jivan, and perhaps this is the Western model, right? This is pure Western model. What you are seeing at the bottom is pure Western model. Money, and then bhog, enjoy. Right? So that is the bipolar what you can call system. And if we suddenly expect them to get into the dharma or moksha mode, it will be almost impossible for them. It might be a long journey. It might be a long journey. And I've distinguished between the dharma and moksha also. Moksha is the person who is concerned more about his own liberation. कि मेरे को तो मोक्ष मिल जाना चाहिए. I am not concerned about everybody else. And you will find these people in Kandra and Pahadi and in forests, living lonely life, doing tapas, living with nature. Once in a while coming to Mahakumbh and going back to their ashramas and their gufas. So that is moksha. And dharma way is the sages who are self-realized. At the same time, they try to help masses to connect with them. So they are the ones who are actually trying to do something for society. They're self-realized people, and they're doing dharma also. Dharma is to protect the dharma, spread the jnana, do the seva of the followers, guide them, mentor them, and like that. And for a common person who may not be able to leave earth and calm exclusively to jump to the level of moksha or dharma, for him, naitikta could be a good, what you can call, padav on the way. Naitikta could be a good padav on the way. Naitikta, ethical, is a ethical approach to business, ethical approach to life, ethical approach to living. Is ask your conscience: are you doing something, which is good for yourself, good for people around, good for nature? Is it good that if it is published tomorrow in newspaper, you will feel proud about it? So that is naitikta. So naitikta is keeping your conscience clean. If we can learn only this, most of us, it's going to be a big accomplishment. So,
So we would just like to taste one of the Naitik Vyavasai Upanishads aphorism, just a couple of them to taste, because these abstractions are quite known in the academic fraternity, in the philosophy for quite a long time, but then somewhere or the other we lost that linkage of its, I would say, and that is what you have covered it so very phenomenally well into the Advait Naitik Vyavasai Upanishad, and that's the greatest contribution, we will say. The philosophy is out there, but then how to translate that philosophy into
day-to-day
executables.
day-to-day style of working.
Yes,
Definitely.
because that's where we all get lost. Yes, because the one extreme, it is the cutthroat competition kind of a lingo that beg, borrow, steal, and leave it. It is extort, deceive, and it's coming through.
I will, with your permission, read out from the book.
Yes.
Maybe I don't know, randomly open it, and I'll, I have opened the page. If you would like to, if you have the copy, I have Charcha Kramank 119 in front of me. If you also have, let me read. Charcha Kramank 119 is page number 381. Sorry, 281. Now this Charcha is having a title, Man Se Thake. I have written this book, more or less strategically in Hindi. Language is a tool of war, Code language is definitely, but even language is मन से थके बोझिल, ना स्वयं ना काम जीवंत, उत्साह के लिए तकनीक. Most of the entrepreneurs, they get frustrated, they get disappointed, they get demotivated, they get disheartened intermittently. They lose energy, they lose motivation, they lose what you can call the to go ahead. So, how to get back to their spirit of entrepreneurship, spirit of doing things, spirit of taking things ahead? टीम में और प्रतिष्ठान में ऊर्जा का संचार कैसे करें? Now, this is something which, again, having taught marketing management, having taught entrepreneurship, this is a topic which has not been covered in any of the syllabus. So this is how, I could fill the gap which structured syllabus don't address, टीम में, प्रतिष्ठान में ऊर्जा का संचार कैसे करें? एक छोटा सा प्रयोग कीजिए. अपने 3 उद्यमी मित्रों से यह प्रश्न पूछिए, वे अपने व्यवसाय के दूरगामी प्रभावों को कितना समझते हैं? आपको कम से कम एक भावहीन प्रतिक्रिया देखने को मिल जाएगी. उद्यम के दूरगामी प्रभाव. इस विचार में समाज सेवा या दार्शनिकता वाली बात नहीं है. अधिकांश उद्यम कोई ना कोई सकारात्मक प्रभाव डालते ही हैं. Then I have given a couple of examples, around 7-8 of them. नाई और ब्यूटिशियन की सेवाओं से ग्राहक अपने लिए आत्मविश्वास का अनुभव करते हैं. आत्मविश्वास का बिजनेस. एयर कंडीशनर और कार के अच्छे मैकेनिक बहुत बड़ा तनाव ले रहे हैं, उत्पादकता बढ़ा देते हैं. कार और एसी रिपेयरिंग नहीं, उत्पादकता का बिजनेस. They are in the business of productivity. तीसरा एग्जांपल है, शिक्षण संस्थान सिद्धांतों की पढ़ाई करवाने के लिए नहीं, मानव साधन के विकास के लिए कार्यरत है. शिक्षण संस्थान नहीं है, भविष्य निर्माण के ये संस्थान है.
I think
the moment we shift our focus,
I can very well say that deep reading or even a casual reading of these 235 odd Naitik uh, Vyavasaya Upanishad aphorisms, it's a capsule masters in business administration from a Bharatiya perspective. UGC and other bodies, AICT, have been trying out that let the techno managerial education go into the Bharatiya bhashas. In just 1 month from now, the UN Mother Language Day would be commemorated all over
जी
the world. तो निज भाषा उन्नति है, सब विकास को मूल। तो जो हमारे बॉटम ऑफ द पिरामिड जो उद्यम हैं, जो कि नॉन कॉर्पोरेटाइज हम कह सकते हैं, नॉन इंस्टीट्यूशनलाइज, जो समाज के साथ जिनका
I called them prosperity sector. I given them a name in this book. Instead of calling them unorganized sector or small business sector, I said they are prosperity sector.
yeah,
This sector है वो.
they are the true prosperity. If the GST mop up is really going to touch the 2 lakh crores a month, perhaps this prosperity sector is the core engine of it. पर वही भाषा की जो बात है, आई थिंक डॉक्टर अग्रवाल ने शुरुआत प्रारंभ में ही यही बात कही कि दो विद्यार्थी आपस में संभाषण कर रहे हैं और बोले कि मेरी अंग्रेजी अगर क्योंकि अंग्रेजी में गिटर पिटर करना ही शिक्षा का हेतु बन गया है, बजाय इसके कि हम कितनी हमारी उत्पादकता है, या हम उन शब्दों के अर्थ को कितना जानते हैं और कितना समाज से जोड़ पाते हैं। तो जो आज
Correct.
औपनिवेशिकता का जो एक भाव है, और अभी डॉक्टर चतुर्वेदी जी के साथ जो संवाद हुआ उसमें जो हमने कहा कि मेक अमेरिका ग्रेट अगेन का एक जो राजनैतिक नारा यहाँ से 7 समुद्र दूर लगाया जा रहा है, तो कहीं ना कहीं उसके परिपेक्ष में मेक इंडिया ग्रेट अगेन के लिए कहीं ना कहीं ये जो नैतिक अधिष्ठान है, और जो कि आज मैनेजमेंट पार्लेंस में एक कॉम्पिटिटिव एडवांटेज और एक कंपैरेटिव एडवांटेज की बात होती है, तो समवेयर और दी अदर जो प्रतिष्ठान नैतिक होगा उसके पास एक कंपैरेटिव एडवांटेज कहीं ज्यादा होगी, बजाय उसके कि जो फ्लाई बाय नाइट ऑपरेटर की तरह एक्ट कर रहा है, जो अनैतिक बात कर रहा है। तो जो कंटिन्यूटी ऑफ बिजनेस की एक जो बात है, जो सर ने जी कम्युनिटीज को लेकर जो बात कही कि भाई सिंधी कम्युनिटी, मारवाड़ी कम्युनिटी, गुजराती कम्युनिटी, सो देर आर कम्युनिटीज जिनके अपने इथोस और एथिक्स हैं कि हम
Absolutely.
एक नैतिकता के साथ हम लोग समझौता कदापि नहीं करेंगे, और इन्हीं की अधिष्ठान पर हम अपने व्यवसाय को आगे बढ़ाएंगे। बिकॉज ट्रस्ट अल्टीमेटली अगर आप फाइनेंशियल सेक्टर में देखें तो इट इज द क्रेडिट रेटिंग। क्रेडिट है कि आपकी क्रेडिबिलिटी की ही एक रेटिंग है कि आपका जो बात है, हाउ आर यू फंक्शनिंग ओवर देयर, कहीं ना कहीं स्किल्स में, और बिकमिंग अ काइंड ऑफ अ मास्टर स्ट्रोक वादी किसी ना किसी रूप से, समवेयर और द अदर वी आर मिसिंग आउट ऑन द फंडामेंटल पिलर्स of
Correct.
what
Correct.
Bharatiyata used to be there. It is not some very big rocket science कि भाई रिवर्स मार्स से या आउटर स्पेस से कोई रॉकेट आ रहा है और हम उसको लपकना है। बहुत ही आधारभूत,
Right.
सीधे साधे, सरल सिद्धांत हैं जो परंपरा में बिखरे हुए मिल
जी
जाएंगे, पर कहीं ना कहीं तेजी
जी
के नाम पर फास्टनेस, फास्टिडियस smartness is being interpreted into some kind of a Machiavellian aspect. But Machiavellianness perhaps happen at the statecraft level, when the collective interest of a nation state have to be championed. But when you are doing interactions individually, एक गुरु शिष्य का जो संबंध है वो विश्वास का संबंध है, एक परंपरा का जो संबंध है, तो उसी में ये जो एथिकल एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप एज अ वे ऑफ लाइफ की जो जीवन पद्धति है, जीवन का जो पूरा स्वरूप और प्रारूप है, उसमें एथिक्स, एथिक्स इज नॉट जस्ट अ सब्जेक्ट, इट इज लाइक आप कह सकते हैं मीठा या नमकीन जो पूरे भोजन में सर्वत्र व्याप्त है। आई थिंक दैट इज व्हाट डॉक्टर अग्रवाल हैज वीव्ड अ ब्यूटिफुल टिपेस्ट्री। एक गागर में सागर भरा है, और आई थिंक दिस इज द नीड ऑफ ऑल द मोस्ट मॉडर्न मैनेजमेंट। देयर यूज्ड टू बी टॉक अबाउट कि ऐसा कौन सा एक सिद्धांत है जिसको हमारी भारतीय प्रबंधकीय संस्थानों में या कहीं पे भी हम उसको पिरोएं। कहीं ना कहीं ये जो नैतिकता का भाव है, बिकॉज ब्रांड इक्विटी की भी जो बात करते हैं उसमें
ultimately
रेपुटेशन की जो
it's
बात है,
about
these
it's
are
about
not very high-handed English words, but they have very deep connotation, और बहुत सहज भाषा में डॉक्टर अग्रवाल ने इनको प्रतिपादित किया है। और यही इसीलिए हमने कहा कि विश्व शिक्षा फोरम, वर्ल्ड एजुकेशन फोरम 2025 में यह जो प्रतिपाद्य विषय है, जो फोकस है हमें अपनी अटेंशन, जैसा कि हम अष्टांग योग में धारणा के माध्यम से फिर
हाँ,
ध्यान की अवस्था में पहुंचते हैं, तो पाश्चात्य, वो श्री अरविंद का एक कथन है कि इंडिया वुड राइज अगेन फ्रॉम द रूइंस ऑफ द वेस्ट। इंडिया वुड, वी हैव टू मेक इंडिया ग्रेट अगेन फ्रॉम द रूइंस ऑफ द वेस्ट। तो जो विकेडनेस का कॉन्सेप्ट है, उसको कहीं ना कहीं वर्चुओसिटी में ट्रांसलेट जो करना है, आई थिंक वो जो धारणा है कि हमें नैतिक रहना है, मेंटल हेल्थ का जो इतना बड़ा आज तनाव है। और यह बात हमारे प्रथम दिवस पर हमारे वन ऑफ द स्पीकर्स सेड कि मन पहले आया इन द इंडिक कॉस्मोलॉजी, इन द इंडिक क्रिएशन,
जी,
कि मन इज मोर सटल देन द बॉडी। वी हैव द अन्नमय कोश, वी हैव द प्राणमय कोश, वी हैव द मनोमय कोश, देन द विज्ञानमय कोश, एंड देन द आनंदमय कोश। सो द क्रिएशन गोज फ्रॉम इनसाइड टू आउट, और वी हैव टू रियली मूव टू दैट लेयर एंड लेवल कि जो आज वूका की बात है, वोलेटिलिटी, अनसर्टेनिटी, कॉम्प्लेक्सिटी और
करेक्ट, करेक्ट।
एम्बिग्यूटी, आई थिंक उसका एक तोड़ है, रामबाण तोड़ है भारतीय अधिष्ठान से। It doesn't come in very reams or very phony declarations for that matter. It comes in a very humble, जो कि विद्या ददाति विनय का जो भाव है, डॉक्टर अग्रवाल इज अ मूर्तिमान स्वरूप ऑफ दैट भारतीय प्रज्ञा, जो कि आज प्रस्तुत कर रहे हैं। और जस्ट सी द वास्ट बॉडी ऑफ नॉलेज ही हैज क्रिएटेड। आई जस्ट इंटरवीन टू जस्ट से कि एब्स्ट्रैक्शन नहीं है, ये कोई साधु संत महात्मा या महाकुंभ का स्तर नहीं है। इट हैज टू बी अप्लाइड right at the stock market as well, because if you are an ethical
Absolutely.
stockbroker, you would be way more long lasting if you just read, because if you are unethical, so that's where Professor Agrawal has given this fulcrum of being ethical, कि इसके माध्यम से आप जो हायर पुरुषार्थास हैं, द धर्म
धर्म एंड
एंड द
धर्म एंड
मोक्षा,
मोक्ष।
कैन बी ऑटोमेटिकली चैंपियन। आपको उसके लिए वास्तव में वनवास करने की आवश्यकता है, अरण्यवास की आवश्यकता नहीं है, क्योंकि योगः कर्मसु कौशलम का भी भाव we had in the day one when we were discussing the foundations of education, शिक्षा, विद्या, कला, कौशल और अनुभूति। तो भारत का जो अंतरंग स्वरूप है, एंड एट द एंड ऑफ द डे दिस इज एन एक्सरसाइज बियॉन्ड इंटेलेक्चुअलाइजेशन। यह अनुभूत परक ज्ञान है,
Absolutely,
उस दिया
absolutely.
है।
You said
और
the golden line of the day. I mean, you said, you know, if we intellectualize everything, if we academize everything, it will lose the flavor.
बिकॉज विज्ञानमय कोश के अंदर जो आनंदमय कोश है, द फुलफिलमेंट, आज बात माइंडफुलनेस की हो रही है, हार्टफुलनेस की हो रही है, सोलफुलनेस की हो रही है, बिकॉज वो टुकड़े में इसलिए रखा है बिकॉज वी आर ट्राइंग टू इंटेलेक्चुअलाइज इट। बट हम हम ऐसा एथिकल व्यापार कर कर आए, तो व्यापार को जो नेगेटिव एक कॉनोटेशन मिला है समवेयर और दी अदर, इट इज बिकॉज, जो कि सर ने बहुत प्रथमतया बोला, कि जो 1700 ईस्वी से जो एक भाव प्रदीप्त हुआ कि हम पूरे प्रकृति पर, विश्व पर विजय प्राप्त कर लें, the colonization, capitalism, and industrialization. And I think these specters, they have become very subtle but very substantive. Even artificial intelligence, for that matter, yesterday we had a phenomenal talk whereby there was a discussion that the power is phenomenal, but then if it is ethically used, the use and abuse of these technological powers, एंड अगेन इट कम्स फ्रॉम मैनेजरियल विजडम की लीडरशिप के विजन पर निर्भर करता है। विद्या विवादाय धनम मदाय शक्ति परेशान परपीड़नाय खलस्य साधोर विपरीत मेतथ ज्ञानाय दानाय च रक्षणाय। सो आई थिंक these Indian civilizational ethos, which have been encapsulated in so very much pragmatic ways, जो भारत में एक रिडल के तरीके से, एक सूक्ति के तरीके से जो प्रस्तुत किया है डॉक्टर अरविंद अग्रवाल ने, आई थिंक दैट इज अ एसेट ऑफ आर्स। और उसका एक पारायण, जैसे रामचरितमानस का पारायण होता है, भगवत गीता का पारायण होता है, तो व्यवहारिक जीवन में इन सूत्रों का यदि हम पारायण करें, तो आई थिंक अ लॉट, सर ने ये बहुत सुंदर कविता जो लिखी है, आई थिंक दिस इज द crux of it. I would really invite Dr. Surbhi in her melodious voice. Perhaps she would love to narrate, because
Yes.
this is the invocation. This forum is, एक तरफ हम दावोस में वर्ल्ड इकोनॉमिक फोरम की जो बात करें, इसकी एक एंटीथीसिस है, इट्स नॉट फॉर मी, इट्स फॉर ऑल। अयम निजम परो वेति, जो वसुधैव कुटुंबकम का जो भाव है, समवेयर और द अदर दिस आइडियोलॉजिकल स्ट्रगल वुड इंटेंसिफाई इन नॉट years, not months, in weeks to come. Because दो विश्व दृष्टियों का संघर्ष है, और somewhere or
दो
the
विश्व दृष्टि।
the word views are
जी
really
जी
colliding, and the fast pace at which it is happening, कहीं ना कहीं भारत को इसलिए जगत गुरु कहा गया। भारत ने सबको आत्मसात किया, एंड दिस इज नॉट समथिंग वी बिकेम, आई वुड से, wrong in that fashion, but I think intellectual giants like Professor Agrawal and others who have really dedicated their whole lives, very, very productive lives, to the cause of serving the Sanatani Vidya comes very much over there. Dr. Surbi, please do the honors of युद्ध तो चल रहा है।
युद्ध तो चल रहा है संस्कृति का अस्तित्व के साथ। गांव की गलियों में युद्ध तो चल रहा है अंतस का अंतस के साथ। अंतस की गुफाओं में युद्ध तो चल रहा है आस्थाओं का नीतियों के साथ। संसद और कार्यालयों में युद्ध तो चल रहा है पूंजीवाद का परिवारों के साथ। मस्तिष्क में बाजारों में युद्ध तो चल रहा है अभिलाषाओं का शिक्षा के साथ। संस्थानों में कक्षाओं में युद्ध तो चल रहा है अन्याय का मानवता के साथ। न्यायालयों में आस्थाओं में युद्ध तो चल रहा है युद्ध तो चल रहा है। होगा तप के बाद तांडव होगा रण के बाद प्रलय युद्ध तो चल रहा है। धर मत देना उठ धर लेना तांडीव माधव को आने में यदि है विलंब। संभालना रथ भी स्वयं को और सहचरों को भी क्योंकि युद्ध तो चल रहा है। युद्ध कर प्रेम और आनंद के साथ शिव क्रीड़ा में तू ही उसका हाथ। खेल युद्ध तो चल रहा है।
What a marvelous, I would say, exhortation of the entire spirit of Bharatiyata. We have not left the word as recluses. It's a fight until we get, I would say, the support of Madhav. I think what Professor Agrawal is saying, that each one of us, each one of the ethical entrepreneur, ethical is not something a brand value, it's a way to live. I think I would now invite Dr. Agrawal for the second part of this conversation, till we are joined in by Dr. Murari Lal Gaur, who is just landing up at the Kolkata airport and would be joining in very shortly from there. He is the Honorable Kulpati at the C.V. Raman University, Vaishali, Bihar. बिहार के तत्व से वो बात कहेंगे एग्रेरियन इंटेलिजेंस की, कि किस प्रकार से जो इनोवेशन है वो लोकल कॉन्टेक्स्ट से ही उद्भासित हो सकता है. वी डोंट नीड अ स्टारगेट काइंड ऑफ अ $500 billion ऑफ इन्वेस्टमेंट टू रियली rule over the world or capture over the world. So how the interdisciplinary research, what Dr. Agrawal's work is out here, but some ideas, because what we saw from Dr. Chaturvedi's talk also is that management is a larger discipline, whereby technological use cases, the way he trifurcated workplaces and workforce. So I think some ideas as to how interdisciplinarity, and especially making STEM into STEAM, how the humanities can be added up, because with the STEM part की ताकत तो आ गई, शक्ति तो आ गई, पर उस न्यूक्लियर एनर्जी का जो उपयोग है और जो कंसर्न्स है, कल के दिन जो प्रतिपाद्य विषय था इंटेल की दीपाक्षी महेंद्र, जो कि गवर्नमेंट पॉलिसी को देखती हैं भारत में, उन्होंने यही कहा कि एफिशिएंसी और कैपेसिटी तो आ जाएगी. प्रोफेसर मोनी ने भी यही कहा, पर जो एथिकल वैल्यूज हैं, जो ड्राइव है, जो पैशन है, उसको तो किसी गुरु को ही जागृत करना पड़ेगा. सो डॉक्टर अग्रवाल, जो चैतन्य तत्व है, इनफैक्ट इससे पहले प्रथम दिन में टी एन सुदर्शन जी ने बड़ी सुंदर बात कही कि एआई हैज ब्रॉट अबाउट द एनकैप्सुलेशन ऑफ द एंटायर वेस्टर्न विजडम इन वन गो. तो सेल्फ अवेयरनेस, उसके कॉन्ट्रास्ट में स्व का जो अनुभव हम यौगिक साइंसेस में करते हैं, परहैप्स द मशीन हैज ब्रॉट अबाउट a very significant thing. Okay, this is a machine which is talking and this is I, a human. तो एक कॉन्ट्रास्ट कहीं ना कहीं उद्भव हो सकता है. उसको अनुभव किया जा सकता है. That's a subject matter of deeper psychedelical or yogic practices, but more from an intellectual, because NEP
Interdisciplinary, so long as
interdisciplinarity, what NEP has also talked about it, right from the kindergarten to the postdoctoral level, the whole continuum of it all, how this can be invoked. I think Dr. Agarwal, a brief overview on that.
Definitely. When it comes to the the lingo of the policy making, like interdisciplinary, and I mean, definitely we are looking at I mean, if you look at the very logo of Advait, for example, the second word is at the bottom, after Advait Institute, culture, socioeconomics, and prosperity. The interdisciplinary is I mean, if you academize it too much, then it becomes something too complicated and very fashionable to talk about. But interdisciplinary is something which is happening, every moment around us. I mean, if I have to talk in terms of business, if in terms of the economics, or if in terms of the the logical. Say, for example, they say that when you combined the photocopy machine with telephone, the fax came up, right? So the two separate things, when they together make sense and they kind of compound in terms of sensitivity, then only we can say that we are successful in our experiment with something interdisciplinary. Now, actually, I have to leave guests waiting outside for me. So I have only 10 minutes. So I'll try and wind up in 7-8 minutes.
Sir. Sure.
The point is the ancient knowledge system or the economics. I mean, it is always interdisciplinary. Right? Always interdisciplinary. The sales must coordinate well with the production, and that must coordinate well with quality, and all these coordinate well with statistical and analytics. So interdisciplinary is not something I mean, high blown as a concept in practical level. In theoretical level, or in the in the conference rooms, it's very fashionable to talk about interdisciplinary sources. But I don't look at it as something very,
Sir has given the mantra, sir has given the sutra, because 1700s, when he said that colonization started happening, because somewhere or the other, to take away the agency of the independent आत्मनिर्भर समाज की एजेंसी को का तिरोहन या हरण करने के लिए ही ये टुकड़े में विद्याओं को तोड़ दिया गया संभवतः. Because when sir is talking about entrepreneurship, he also talks about that you have to have the knowledge of money. Money matters. So how would you? So it is all intertwined. So knowledge are intertwined. They are already intertwined and interdisciplinary in themselves. Somewhere or the other, when you have to take control over someone's agency, you artificially break
then you have to break it.
That समाज को तोड़ना. इसी तरह से जो हमारे
exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, taking your example a little more for example, for me, it's for teeth. But for dentists, there are 32 different type of teeth. Each has different name.
Yes.
So that's all. I mean, I'd like to add next layer of awareness about the interdisciplinary. I would like to present this framework as a concept. Framework is the mechanism with which we can start integrating. When someone broke, we can start integrating again. And framework is not something which is again, not that I have coined this terminology. I mean, I've given example in my article today that, for example, it's which use IT, right? They have a framework, and using one framework, you can create e-commerce platform, You can create a video blogging platform. You can create with the same framework, maybe a company's branding website, and with the same framework, you can create a news portal. With the same framework, you can create an author profile. With the same framework, you can create a cooperative housing management functionality. So few things fixed and few things left to be adjusted as per the requirement. Semi-structured approach is called framework, right? It's called, if I have to make it too simple, four ladies who pick up vegetable from vegetable shop. They pick up some spinach, some tomatoes, but four ladies go their home and cook four different things. One will make palak pakoda, other will make palak paneer, third will make maybe palak ki dal, and fourth will make palak paratha. So the vegetable shop is framework, and when you customize it, so it becomes your thing. So the framework which we have taken in Advait, opens door to a lot of decentralization, we can call it, democratization, call it, innovative by partners and associates, we call it. It really opens up the door to reach out and let them make it their. Taking Advait framework, people are creating, matrimonial services, because we have a parent related and the dedicated programs for helping people with decision about getting into the family, starting the family, and then the family as a parent. So we have a framework for parenting, where we have identified 8 specific roles as a parent.
Okay.
We are in process of developing about 35 or so training modules for the young couples who enter the married life with right foundations, so that we can address the problem of increasing divorce, increasing disagreements and conflicts between the male and female, legal issues, criminal issues, divorce related issues, things like that. So if they enter the married life with right kind of training, so to say, perhaps this kind of institute, the burden of families can be reduced. So people are taking our frameworks and they're creating solutions. So that is what I'm indicating, that we don't have to get stuck with the jargon, so to say. It is in the nature to mix things which are otherwise opposite in nature.
Lovely. So
chemistry is currently happening.
So from the lovely Advait framework, we had a very elaborate intertwining from Dr. Arvind Agrawal from the Advitiya Gyan Parampara, the way he's reviving it across in an applied executable fashion. Perhaps with the age of AI, I think these aphorisms, what Advait ethical framework presents, would be perhaps imbibed by the entire business community once more for our. We talk about the gross domestic prosperity. It can be a gross dharmic prosperity, from GDP, gross domestic product, to gross dharmic prosperity, whereby ethics formulate the baseline of it all. Thank you, Dr. Agrawal. And passing on the baton of today's discussion, Trimurti से आज हमने ज्ञान प्राप्त किया. We have been joined in by Dr. M.L. Gaur sir, who is the Kulpati at the Dr. C.V. Raman University from Vaishali, Bihar. Sir was in the transit, but then he was gracious enough to he has joined us from the Netaji Subhash International Airport, Kolkata. And what a coincidence कि नेताजी की कल जन्म जयंती है और उसकी पूर्व संध्या पर हमारे को डॉक्टर गौर का आशीर्वचन आज मिलने को, और आज हमने उनसे जो प्रस्तावना रखी कि आज इनोवेशन की बात होती है. स्टारगेट, प्रेसिडेंट ट्रंप ने $500 बिलियन की बात कह के व्हाइट हाउस में एक वैश्विक एक अश्वमेध यज्ञ छोड़ दिया, एक घोड़ा छोड़ दिया कि हम अब विश्व विजय करेंगे इस स्टारगेट इनिशिएटिव के माध्यम से. पर जैसे कण कण में हमारी भगवत सत्ता विद्यमान है, आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस की बात हो रही है, और डॉक्टर गौर एग्रेरियन इंटेलिजेंस के पुरोधा रहे हैं पूरा जीवन भर. 4 दशक उन्होंने ICAR और आनंद एग्रीकल्चरल विश्वविद्यालय को सेवित किया है. तो डॉक्टर गौर से कि ये जो कण कण में नवाचार है, जीवन को अपनी प्रामाणिकता पर जीने का जो भाव है, कैसे हम हायर एजुकेशनल इकोसिस्टम को, एक ऑब्जर्वेशन की जो एक आंख है, जहां उन इनोवेशंस को हम कैसे पिरो सकते हैं। अर्थ का युग है, पर उस अर्थ में भी उस प्रकार से कैसे वी कैन टेक ऑन द चैलेंजेस ऑफ टुडे एंड टुमारो कमिंग फॉरवर्ड। डॉक्टर गौर।
Thank you very much. I think I am audible.
सर लाउड एंड क्लियर
Am
सर।
I audible? It's in my life, 40 years, the first experience for me to have such kind of discussion while running on the belt. But thank you very much. My next flight is after 45 minutes. तो आपने बहुत अच्छा कार्यक्रम अटेंड किया, बनाया है ये सर। और मैं परिचय दे दूं, मैं डॉक्टर एमएल गौर हूँ, बेसिकली एग्रीकल्चर इंजीनियर हूँ। आई डिड माई इंजीनियरिंग इन 1983 फ्रॉम जबलपुर, देन आई डिड माई मास्टर्स इन पीएचडी फ्रॉम आईआईटी रुड़की in hydrology 30 years back. And you will be happy, Narayana Murthy, Professor Emphasis Chairman, we got degree together on the same day, on same day, 4th of April 2000, by the Surjit Singh Barnala sir. So this is my background. I have traveled in 6 ministries, 7 states, and worked for many projects where the agriculture, farmers, and farming are dealt. I was an innovator. I was the first gate qualifier, but left the gate, left IIT, joined these rivers. Rivers are my interest. How to work on the philosophy of the rivers, because they are the knowledge. Knowledge is flowing in the river, and the body knowledge is flowing in the blood. So flow of the blood and flow of the river, they are the same. They are coinciding with each other. After 25 years in government of India and 15 years in government of Gujarat, working with Modi sir for about 6 years in Godhra, I shifted myself towards Vaishali. Vaishali is a place which is known as the birthplace of Mahatma Buddha and Mahavir, and it is near to Nalanda. And Nalanda, you can understand, it is next Oxford, Oxford of country, which was built even before Oxford. And at that time, 6 lakh books were burned, and those burning were took place for 6 months. And those books were written on the leaves of the trees. Can you imagine what kind of knowledge and wisdom our ancestors were having? That is lost. We were talking now IT, information technology, IoT, GIS, IS, everything, but it was very well existing in Indian system. Ravan was having a Pushpak Biman. It was a driverless vehicle. In a click, it go to Sri Lanka. Narada Muni was having timeless travel. One click, shift him from Earth to Moon and Moon to other planet. Isn't? So this way, Sanjay was having a pixel of lakhs megapixel. He can see what is happening. So those kind of technology were already there, but we lost it. Time has come when we have to revive ourselves. We have to blend the traditional knowledge with the modern knowledge for the benefit of the mankind. I will restrict myself towards the agricultural scenario where I'm asked to speak. Let me speak. What are the problems of agriculture, Indian agriculture? Indian agriculture is the most oldest system of science. It was earlier known as art of growing the crop. People cannot die to live. Then slowly and slowly, in 100 years or so, it becomes science of growing the crop. Then after some time, it became technology of growing the crop with input, with green revolution. Then after another decade, it became technology of growing the crop. And then it became the engineering of growing the crop. And then just last 50 years, it was the management of growing the crop to manage the natural resources, soil, water, health, and fertilizer, and everything to manage proper way so we can get good production. But now, 2020 onward, it has again transformed. Agriculture has converted as a business. It is one of the biggest business of the globe. Biggest business. So its journey from art to science to engineering to management to business itself shows what is the domain of this subject is having, isn't it? And this is the only business. If you want to create a tractor, if you want to create a mobile, and you want to create 1,000 mobile, you have to manufacture 1,000 items, 1,000 times. 1,000 times input is required. If you grow one grain, you will get 1,000 grain automatically from the nature. What kind of engineering you require? This is the business. This is the engineering nature has given us. You seed, one seed can give you 1,000 seed without any additional cost. So this business is now recognized by the whole globe, and they are looking towards the business as agriculture value addition, how to convert it into a good business. जैसे आपने कहा, हम शब्दों पे चल रहे हैं सर, अर्थ पे नहीं जा रहे. हमारी पॉलिसी शब्दों पे चल रही है. मैं खुलेआम चैलेंज करता हूँ कई जगह प्लेटफॉर्म्स पे इंटरनेशनली. लास्ट टाइम आई वाज इन कनाडा फॉर अबाउट 1 month in University of Waterloo. I challenged there. Indians are talking doubling the farmers' income. What is the income? What is the use of doubling the farmers' income? No use. You say double the farmers' profit, not income. You doubling the income and doubling the input cost. Farmer is still making society. So आपको शब्दों का ज्ञान ही नहीं है. आप इनकम की जगह बोलिए प्रॉफिट डबल करेंगे, तब तो कुछ बात बनती है सर. तो हमारे यहाँ शब्दों की रेस चल रही है. सस्टेनेबिलिटी, एसडीजी, ये वो शब्दों पे पॉलिसी बनती है और उस पर करोड़ों रुपए खर्च हो जाते हैं. किसान बेचारा वहीं की वहीं बैठा हुआ है. रूरल डेवलपमेंट वहीं पर है जहां पर था. तो वो जमाना कब आएगा जब हम अर्थ पे जाएंगे? मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगा आपने अर्थ पर ये सेमिनार और डिस्कशन रखा. अर्थ पर जाइए, शब्द पर मत जाइए. अर्थ जरूरी है. अगर अर्थ आपने गलत ले लिया तो अनर्थ हो जाएगा, और अनर्थ हो रहा है देश के साथ में. भारत का किसान अनर्थ का शिकार है. इतना बढ़िया अन्नदाता है. अन्नदाता है सर. एक जमाना था जब हमारे यहाँ भूख से लोग भीख मांगते थे खाने को. आज इतना प्रोडक्शन है कि रखने को जगह नहीं है. हमारे गोदाम भरे हुए हैं, हम समुद्र में फेंक रहे हैं जाके ग्रेन्स को, कोई लेने को तैयार नहीं है. सो ये अर्थ का अनर्थ इसलिए हो रहा है कि हमने किसान को, फार्मर को और फार्मिंग को प्रॉपर तरीके से समझा नहीं है. देश, भारत देश ऐसा देश है जो दुनिया में सबसे ज्यादा फ्रूट प्रोडक्शन करता है, हाईएस्ट फ्रूट प्रोडक्शन इन दी वर्ल्ड. लेकिन 69% फ्रूट पेड़ से मार्केट तक आ ही नहीं पाता, वहीं खत्म हो जाता है. मैं वैशाली में रहता हूँ. अभी लास्ट मंथ आई वाज ए चीफ गेस्ट इन नालंदा यूनिवर्सिटी इन ज्ञान महाकुंभ, and one of the scientists from California, he came to discuss that Indians are producing so many good quantity of fruits, but average plate of the India does not have a fruit in the plate. Where this fruit is going? It is being lost. Perishable है. हमारे पास कोल्ड स्टोरेज नहीं है, हमारे पास साइंस नहीं है, ट्रांसपोर्टेशन नहीं है. किसान का मैंगो है, आपकी लीची है, पेड़ पर ही खत्म हो जाती है. उसके लिए कब काम करेंगे? ये जो युग आया है आपका आईटी का, आईओटी का, सेंसर का, ये राइट टाइम है कि हम इस टेक्नोलॉजी की मैरिज करवाएं फार्मर के साथ, फार्म्स के साथ और फार्मिंग के साथ. तो हम कुछ देश का भला कर सकते हैं. और ट्रम्प जो बोल रहे हैं, ट्रम्प के पीछे यही लगा हुआ है कि ये जो बनेगा ना ग्लोबल स्फीयर, इसमें इंडिया ही ग्रो करेगा. विश्व गुरु था, भूल गया, अब फिर बनेगा. उन्होंने क्लियर बोला, वी कैन नॉट इग्नोर इंडिया, वी कैन नॉट इग्नोर इंडिया, नो वर्ल्ड कैन इग्नोर इंडिया. So this is right time to change our shoes. Let us have integration. New education policy is giving a good chance where there is no discipline, there is no subject. Anybody can do anything. A person of history has done a PhD in water resource engineering, in civil engineering. He has proved that Ganga is a living system. It has respiration, it has the body, it has the same system what human body is having. So now time has come when we have to marry different disciplines. We have to come together. We work in a true PPP. True PPP, public-private partnership. What is happening? My experience says the private organizations, they never believe on public organizations. दूर भागते हैं उससे. अरे भाई वो तो ठीक गड़बड़ है, करप्शन है. गवर्नमेंट ऑर्गेनाइजेशन, they never talk to private organization. अरे भाई ये तो बिजनेसमैन है, पैसा कमाने के लिए आए हैं. And public never talks to both. They don't believe to anybody. So where is the PPP? We have to share our plus points. We have to share our knowledge. We have to share our resources and work out a collaborative kind of system where the collaboration must be there to work together for region, for a specific problem. Time has come when Prime Minister is very nicely working to dig out the traditional wisdom. He's working to work out on Nalanda Vishwavidyalaya to create another Nalanda by digging the soils and working out the traditional knowledge. And problem is that you go to farmer, you discuss with the farmer in his own language. Ask him This is the problem. What is the solution? He will speak in his own language. You understand that language, decode it, convert it in English, then convert into computer language, and then make the AI and ML. This is the true model that I consider, what I believe in
Lovely,
myself.
lovely.
That is, yeah,
थैंक्स अ
it
लॉट
is
सर,
what.
आपने पूरी
Uh,
भारतीय ज्ञान परंपरा का अधिष्ठान इस
uh,
संक्षेप में प्रस्तुत कर दिया। गो बैक टू द फार्म्स, गो टू द फार्मर, और वहां से बॉटम्स अप आपने पूरी जो ज्ञान
yes,
परंपरा की जो बात है उसको इन्वर्टिंग द पिरामिड जो किया, और अर्थशास्त्र का जो अर्थ है वह खेतीहर के पास ही मिलेगा, और वहां से अब
बिल्कुल।
बॉटम्स अप अप्रोच जो कि आपने प्रस्तुत किया, आई थिंक दैट इज द सम एंड सब्सटेंस ऑफ इट। एंड एट दिस डे 3 ऑफ वर्ल्ड
I'm
एजुकेशन,
sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm not prepared actually. It is what,
सर
what I'm talking.
सर विद्या
Thank you very
वाचस्पतियों को तो वो तो जो भी उद्धृत
much.
कर दें वह वह
मैं सर एक एग्जांपल देना चाहूंगा. When
जी।
I was in Godhra, I was traveling from Bhubaneswar. On my seat was Director IIT Mumbai, and he was talking. We have to develop a sensor where we can determine what is the maximum depth of flow in a river because it creates stream bank erosion. Then I told him, I have an interview with the farmer. Farmer told me, sir, I can very well tell you daily that what was the maximum depth of flow in the channel. My father can tell. How you can tell? I went with him. I worked in watersheds in country since 1980. I've traveled 20,000 kilometers in the watersheds. He told me, sir, come in the channel. What happens when flow is there? The small leaves and piece of the paper they lift with the flow and वो उस साइड पे चिपक जाते हैं साइड पे. बाद में फ्लो कम हो जाता है, वो वहीं चिपके रहते हैं. आप मॉर्निंग में आइए, देख लीजिए कल कहाँ चिपका था, वो आपकी डेप्थ ऑफ फ्लो हो गई, क्रॉस सेक्शन आपको मालूम है, आप निकाल लीजिए एरिया इंटू वेलोसिटी, आप डिस्चार्ज निकाल सकते हैं बड़ा आराम से. ओ माय
लवली,
गॉड, व्हाट
लवली,
बेस्ट सेंसर यू कैन डेवलप विद दैट. दिस इज
लवली,
ट्रेडिशनल नॉलेज. एंड
लवली,
आई डिड, मैंने एक स्टूडेंट को पीएचडी कराई है इस पे सर, एंड इट इज अमेरिकन सोसाइटी ऑफ सिविल इंजीनियर्स में पब्लिश हुआ है पेपर. So this
आई
is the
थिंक
way we have to move. We have to move, sir.
True, true,
Like
sir.
this.
True, sir. I
Yeah,
think this
yeah,
has been
yeah.
truly a benediction for this culmination of the day 3 of World Education Forum. और सर ने जी कहा कि शरीर का रक्त प्रवाह जिस प्रकार से है, नदी का प्रवाह है, तो भारतीय ज्ञान परंपरा का जो अद्भुत प्रवाह है वह डॉक्टर एम एल गौड़ जैसे विद्या वाचस्पतियों के की धमनियों में बह रहा है। आई थिंक द
सर
एंथुसियाज्म
आपकी लैंग्वेज को मैं तारीफ करूंगा. व्हाट ए ग्रेट फ्लो यू आर हैविंग इन हिंदी. मैं एक लास्ट बोलूंगा सर. आप एक पेड़ के नीचे बैठ जाइए. पेड़ की जो पत्तियां होती हैं सर, बहुत कुछ सिखाती हैं. किस तरह अपना कलर चेंज करती हैं, किस तरह अपना ओरिएंटेशन चेंज करती हैं एज पर दी लाइट, किस तरह अपना फ्लो चेंज करती हैं, उसकी रूट्स किस तरह पानी ढूंढती हैं. तो ज्ञान तो पेड़ के अंदर है सर. महात्मा बुद्ध ने पेड़ के नीचे क्यों बैठे थे? क्योंकि ज्ञान तो पेड़ में है, वनस्पति में है. भारतवर्ष में 33,000 वनस्पति है, 33 मिलियन एंड 140 करोड़ आदमी है, 70 करोड़ इंसान है, जानवर है. आप उनसे सीखिए. आपकी
lovely,
नॉलेज वहां
lovely.
पर है, किताब में नहीं. थैंक यू
The
वेरी मच
agrarian
सर.
intelligence of Sanatan Bharat would really be a joining between the upcoming artificial intelligence and the Adhyatmic intelligence of the yogic Bharatiya Parampara. Thanks a lot, Dr. Gaur. And we will take, thank you so much for joining in from the Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose International Airport, where Gitanjali.
And one more, sir. Coincidence was just few hours before I was in Tripura, Agartala. I was chairing the Tripura Public Service Commission. It was a special day. Tripura was formed yesterday only.
Yes,
Netaji
yes,
Subhash Chandra.
yes.
These two dates are very, very coincidental. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, sir. Thanks a lot.
I'm sorry, I'm not able to give full time.
Not at all. Not at all. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. So we'll close the
My
day
announcement.
3 of World Education Forum 2025, day 3. Tomorrow we would be back with yet another range of deliberations on edu internationalization, edu integration, edu interdisciplinarity. So tune in over there. And on the day 4 of this Mahakumbh of this Jnana Parampara. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. Dr. Gaur, for such a exhortation out here. Namaskar.